halfway between Ossipee and Madison, New Hampshire. This is one of the deepest lakes in the state, over 200 feet to the bottom. And a very tragic story occurred here back at the turn of the century. Seems some 4 people were out in a boat and a great fog moved in. And they were marooned and they couldn't find their way to shore. And the boat capsized and everybody was drowned. And the accident so upset Walter Kennett and the Reverend Edward Cummings that they proposed that a beacon be built at the end of the lake. And after these gentlemen died, the town did build this beautiful memorial beacon. The Reverend Cummings, incidentally, was the father of the great American poet E.E. Cummings, who wrote some of his greatest work here.
To get to Silver Lake, the start of our tour, leave Route 16 at West Ossipee and head north on Route 41. This will take you right along the shore of the lake. Turn right when Route 41 joins Route 113. The beacon is just a few hundred yards past that intersection. Our tour continues along Route 113 through the town of Madison, and then just a little further to one of the geological wonders of the world. On a clear day, this route is famous for its views of Mount Shikarawa and the foothills of the White Mountains. But on a foggy day, we rely on an artist's view. This was painted by American poet E.E. Cummings, whose family were summer people here, and indeed, Cummings spent most of the summers of his life here. "I'm an individual," he would say, in an age of standardization. E.E. Cummings became famous for breaking rules in his poetry, and at Silver Lake he found the perfect environment for his creativity. He wrote in a tree house that he built down by the lake. Cummings died here in 1962, one of the most celebrated poets of the age.
Just up the road, about halfway between Madison and Silver Lake, on Route 113, and we come to this. This is the Devil's Chair, a popular picnic spot in the 19th century. Now, it's called the Devil's Chair because it is said that horses pulling carts and wagons up this hill used to get to this spot and be spooked. Local folklore has it that they could see something that their drivers could not.
The Mutual Broadcasting System takes pleasure in presenting Snow Village Sketches, the chronicles of a New Hampshire town. It's not a large place, maybe 300 people, nor is it a rich town. Nobody can make a fortune in Snow Village. That's not saying folks like Hiram...
What you're hearing is an old radio program called Snow Village Sketches, which was produced back in the 1930s and the 1940s, and was written by a man called William Ford Manley, who lived here in Madison, New Hampshire. And somebody who knows a great deal about this is Bob McNair. What were the scripts about?
It's about life in a small town, just like Madison. They call it Snow Village, and people think, well, maybe he means Snowville, just over the hill. But he meant any small town around here, whether it's Madison or Snowville or Eaton or Freedom or Chicago or Conway. And it's the people that lived in these little backwoods towns that he was writing about. And he's writing with a great deal of sentiment for them, because I remember Billy when I was a kid, and he would be telling with gusto about some wonderful conversation he'd had down at the general store with some people, just full of animation, because he loved these characters and their wording and their personalities, and just the interactions between people.
Well, we'll just see about that. Curly, get me a pot of black paint and a brush.
You ain't going to paint it.
By virtue of the authority vested in me as selectman, I'm going to close that bridge official, and the Lord, and everything pertaining there.
The main intersection in Madison is known as Madison Corners. Here you can turn right and complete your circle around Silver Lake, or you can turn left and stay on 113. Just 100 yards or so on the left is the Madison Community Church.
This little church is Madison's only church, and there is a story to tell here as well, a story over 40 years old. It seems the poet E.E. Cummings and his wife were coming back from the Conway Cafe one evening, and as they passed this church, they saw that it was all lighted up, and the bells were ringing, and people were coming out and going in to pray. You see, word had just been received that the Second World War had ended. The scene so impressed the poet that he went home and wrote a poem which he later considered one of his very best. I am a little church, no great cathedral, far from the splendor and squalor of hurrying cities. Around me surges a miracle of unceasing birth and glory and death and resurrection. Over myself float flaming symbols of hope, and I wake to a perfect patience of mountains.
Although the clouds kept the mountains hidden, we were fortunate that nature has provided us with a fragment of a mountain a bit closer for our inspection. Less than 2 miles up Route 113, you will see this sign for the Madison Boulder Geological Park. Follow the arrow. After a bit, the paved road turns to dirt, but do not be discouraged. Look for this sign at the fork in the road. Your diligence will be rewarded.
Now this is the Madison Boulder. This is the largest erratic boulder in the world, which is to say that this boulder was moved here by the glacier, and it is big. It is 83 feet wide, it is 37 feet high, and it weighs 4,663 tons. And if you're not impressed with the largeness that way, just look at this. This is big, big. This is the granddaddy of them all.
Exactly where it came from is the subject of a great debate. Some believe it came from the Albany Ledges, a mere 2 miles away. But others say it came from Mount Willard, 30 miles to the northwest at Crawford Notch. And that's because the rock type is almost exactly the same.
You know, it is amazing that the same glacier that brought those little tiny stones that beacon that we showed you at the beginning of this program was made out of is the exact same glacier that moved this monster to this place. Well, that's our tour for today. Churches and beacons and writers and rocks all located off Route 113 and all in about 5 miles. Hey, happy motoring. Well, let's see, where next? North Dorchester. I didn't even know there was a North Dorchester. I'll bet that would make a great day tour. Well, that's it. 7 great day trips taken around our state in all of the season. Let's see. We saw the Madison Boulder, we saw the Marlow Profile, we saw the Buddy Statue, we saw Monkey Rock, we went to Stinson Lake and Silver Lake, and we saw the state's smallest library. And who knows where our next adventure will take us. Hey, happy motoring. Oh, and you can get there from here.